In today's video, I'm going to show you a small stack of back issues that I picked up during a sale at a local comic shop, and then another stack of books that I picked up during a nerdy garage sale. Check it out. Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. I'm here in the comic space today, and thankfully you can't see everything that's around me. It is in a state of a little bit more than just a bit of chaos, I'd say. I am surrounded by long boxes and short boxes and stacks of comics that I'm in the middle of organizing. All of that is a good problem to have, I'll admit, and it's largely because of some really good deals that I've come across recently. So stay tuned to future videos because those things will come out in some, upcoming hauls. Today, though, I want to show you a small stack of books that I picked up during a sale held at a local store called Comic Book College, and then also a stack of books that I got during what was dubbed as a nerdy garage sale, where this gentleman was selling off a lot of his childhood collectibles and streamlining so he could focus on just particular areas that he was most passionate about. So I'll put a link to Comic Book College down below in case you want to go online and check them out. But let's go ahead and start with those books first. I'm trying to remember the details of this sale because I didn't double check them before I started filming, but I want to say that they were taking all of their normally kind of discounted books already, so your $3 books, $2 books, and $1 books, and selling them at just half price. So the books that I'm going to show you today, I spent mostly 50 cents a piece on. There might be one in here that I spent a whole dollar on, but most of these are going to be newer things as well, trying to fill in some holes in runs. Starting off with this copy of Gargoyles #1. I only got the first 6 issues of this recently relaunched series, and I got the Jay Lee covers for each of those first 6 issues. They happen to have a different copy of #1, and so I figured I would just grab that. I thought that was a cool variant. I forget her name off the top of my head right now, but I'll put it in a little text blurb if I can, once I look it up. Next, we've got just a random issue here, Cable and X-Force. This is issue #3. This is a volume of X-Force that I haven't historically been working on, but I really like Cable. I generally like X-Force. Pencils at this point were done by Salvador LaRocca. Generally like his style as well, so I figured it's just been a matter of time, but now I'm giving in and I'm going to go ahead and start to piece this together as I can find these issues. Here is, looks like it was a free, no, it wasn't free. It was $3. Ultimatum Marvel Spotlight. Don't even know exactly what's in here. Maybe it's highlights about the event itself. I got it primarily for the Jim Chung cover, and it was just 50 cents. Next, I found a few variants of Transformers books, which I'm always keeping an eye out for, even though I have, a copy of each of these issues already. Variants are always fun to add, especially when it's your favorite franchise. In this case, I got 2 copies from an event series called Revolution. That was when IDW was kind of mashing together all the various toy property licenses into one shared universe. And so I got this variant of issue 1. It's a wraparound right there. And I think it's this series was a wraparound connecting cover as well. So I've got to hunt down all the issues. That'd be cool to have. And these are done by John Byrne. So that's a super fun addition. So again, there's issue 1. But they did also have the wraparound connecting cover to issue 4. So this was either a 5 or a 6 issue event series. So 4 or so more issues to go, but those will be fun to hunt for. And then I also got this variant. I'm not sure who did this. I can't really read the name here, but this is a variant to Optimus Prime #9. I just thought that was a cool headshot variant there. Got random, most of these are going to be random issues because you go through the boxes and you want to come away with something, and they didn't have a ton of issues in any particular run that I'm hunting for, so that's why you see just kind of a little bit here, a little bit there. Got a few things from Fantastic Four. These are all from Volume 3, which is a pretty lengthy volume for Fantastic Four. Here is issue 59 or 488. They were getting to the point now where they were transitioning back to legacy numbering. And then here's issue 66/495. And then issue 74 or 503. Oh, and one more from the Wade Waringo run. Wade was already writing at the point of those other issues, but here is issue 523. So just continue to chip away at those when I can find them cheap. Here's one issue from a limited series I'm working on. This is Avengers Prime, number 2 of 5, with pencils by Alan Davis and written by Brian Michael Bendis. And I've said before that I'm working on the Cable Volume 1 run, and found this copy of issue number 17 that I needed, and that's fun. It's newsstand. Newsstands are always fun in the 90s, as they were much less common at that point. And the last 2 books from Comic Book College, these were my dollar books, so my big spend books for the day. This is Domino number 8. This is from her last self-titled run. Only ran for 10 issues, and I have all of the issues except this one, and this one has eluded me for a long time now, so happy to finally find it and to get it for just $1. And then the other dollar issue is from Oblivion Song. This is issue number 20. There's a handful, more than a handful, a couple handfuls of issues I still need to finish this volume, and so I'm going to continue to track those down as I can find them, for $1 or less until I get the full volume, which I think ran for like 36 issues. But good story, good pencils, so going to continue to hunt for those. And those are the books I got from the sale at Comic Book College. This other stack of books has a wider variety of things in it. These came from, like I said, a nerdy garage sale. This guy was selling off a bunch of his childhood collection, comics, toys, games, otherwise. He had really good prices on everything. And if I knew more about more of the things, I probably would have picked up more. But I was focused really just on the comics, and he was selling those for $1 a piece or 15 for $10. So you got to go for at least the 15 and then try to get multiples of 15 so you get that discounted price. And his stuff jumps all over the place. I will say, quick little story, I got there right away. And normally that's not the case for me. Normally I'll get to a sale like this or any other, much later, and kind of go in with the understanding that some of the books that I would want would probably be gone at that point. And just to say, that's a trade-off, because I won't have to fight the crowds, but I also won't have to, I won't get the same kind of books. But I always come away with something fun, so that's never been a problem. This particular sale, though, I was able to get there right at the start, and the biggest reason I wanted to do that was because he advertised having Transformers and G.I. Joe comics, and what he meant by those was stuff from the Marvel era back in the 80s. And I'm a huge Transformers fan, and even though I have that full volume, I am still working on the G.I. Joe Marvel run, and those are not easy to find, especially for cheap and in good condition. So I thought, what the heck, if I get there early, maybe I'll have a shot at some of those books. Well, I got there, I was able to look through the Transformers and G.I. Joe sections first. I just started there instead of starting like in alphabetical order, and picked out what I wanted, and I'm so glad I did, because not 5 minutes later, somebody walked up and they had an empty short box in hand and came up to those boxes, saw where the Transformers books were, grabbed the entire stack without even looking, and stuck it in their box. Then went to G.I. Joe, grabbed that entire stack, stuck it in their box without even looking. And obviously the person's reselling those books, and I don't begrudge them that at all. The only frustration I have in something like that is, as in this case, as the end collector of a lot of those issues, I guess I'm just really thankful that I got there early enough to get those first, because I'm not going to begrudge somebody that ability to go to a sale, get books really cheap, and then turn around and sell them. It can be frustrating as a collector when you miss out on those deals where you could have otherwise, filled in some holes in your run for just $1 a piece. But now somebody goes and buys them, I'm sure they'll be marked up significantly, much more to market price. But anyway, that I won't call that quite a rant. It's about as close to a complaint as I'll get, because again, I'm not going to tell you don't do those things, don't take advantage of those deals, because if I was looking to sell those books, that would be a great way to source those as well. So just glad I got there early so I could take advantage of the books that I wanted first. So let's go ahead and start with some G.I. Joe books, since I mentioned those. These are not from the Marvel era, but they were cool covers nonetheless. These come from the Image days of G.I. Joe, and I got the first handful of issues. Here's G.I. Joe #1 under Image, and that's a J. Scott Campbell cover. And then also got issue 2, 3, 4, and then 5. He had more issues, but I felt like 5 felt good, gave me a decent shot of getting a story arc, so just got those 5. And then he did have some Marvel Comics era of G.I. Joe. I was able to pick up issue #7, so a nice low number for just $1, actually less than $1. Here's #8. Classic cover there, #10. And then this was just a cool Cobra Commander cover on, was it 50? Yeah, 58. And then 61. And then jumping up to 84. So those are the issues I got from the Marvel era. The ones I'm primarily looking for are the issues, there's a handful in like the 130s, 140s that also crossed over with Transformers Generation 2. Obviously very hard to find because they weren't high print run at that point, and I'm sure a lot of those copies that are out there are really beat up too, but I'll continue to hunt for those, and someday I know I'll find them. These were fun to find though. And then I found one other cool G.I. Joe book, because I had other books like this from Blackthorn Publishing. This is G.I. Joe in 3D #1, and it even has the glasses still. So that was a great find as well. And now just kind of, once I got through the Transformers and G.I. Joe sections, then I was just looking much more broadly at whatever he had, taking my time and being picky about the things that I really wanted to get for myself. Here is Star Wars #2. This is from when Marvel reclaimed the license to do Star Wars comics. I got the issue #1 and a handful of the other low numbers, but I was missing #2, so glad I could fill in that gap. Here is a 90s book that I couldn't resist picking up. I'd never read this, never collected any of these at the time, but maybe because the 90s are popular again and I've seen enough of it online, I figured, why not? I'll go ahead and grab a copy of this since he had it for so cheap. Here is Sleepwalker #1. So again, no huge attachment to this title or this character, but I just thought that was a fun 90s pickup for cheap. And then we've got, what do I got here? Just a couple more titles to show you. This is one, I think it wound up being like a 12-issue short run ongoing, but it features one of my favorite X-Men. This is Rogue. There's #1. It may have only been slated for like a 6-part series. It talked a lot about, six issues at the beginning, but I think it wound up going 12. And these covers are by, is it Randolfo Migliari? So kind of a painted looking style there, but there's issue #1, 3, 5, and 6. This was one that I don't really ever see, hadn't been on my radar at all, but caught my eye while I was at the sale. and figured why not 4 of the issues. I'll go ahead and grab those, and now I'll hunt for the balance of those to round out that volume. And then the last 2 books to show you, these were just fun Bronze Age finds for the day. Not in tip-top shape, but still fun to get when they're less than $1. These are from the first Ms. Marvel series. Here's issue number 4, and then here's issue number 6. And this one in particular, you see on the back there, all this damage down here. So not in great shape, obviously, but it was less than $1. And so Bronze Age books for less than $1, in still really nice shape, because that damage is on the back. So you'll never see that once it's in a bag and a board. It'll present really, really nicely. So with Carol Danvers being one of my more favorite characters in the Marvel Universe, happy to add issues from her first ongoing whenever I can. So that wraps up the books then from the Nerdy Garage Sale. Great sale, seemed to have great attendance, and a great selection of books to be had. All right, with that, I'm going to say that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this back issue haul from Comic Book College and the Nerdy Garage Sale. I do hope you saw something that you liked, but how about you? What kinds of things are you finding in your own comic adventures? Any of these titles or runs or characters, things that you're hunting for? Let us know down below. Now, if you're not quite ready for the YouTube fun to stop, I have hand-selected a couple videos here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.